To restore a Hyper-V virtual machine, you want to go to the Home tab in the lower left section, and then under Jobs and Backup, I can click on the Restore option. I'm going to choose Microsoft Hyper-V. If I've created a virtual machine replica, I can choose to restore from that, or just choose to restore from the backup. I'm going to choose to do an entire virtual machine restore. And now I have several options. I can do an instant recovery because the virtual machine is already on my backup server, and I can run it right from my backup server using either Hyper-V or VMware. Now I'd have to have either of those two installed in order to run that virtual machine. I could also choose to restore the entire virtual machine to either the original location or a new location and have it register with Hyper-V. Then I could choose the VM file restore. That's just going to restore the individual virtual machine files, but it's not going to start up any virtual machines. I could choose to export the disk or restore to public cloud. I'm going to choose the entire virtual machine restore, and I'm going to put it back to its original location. So I'll choose Add and choose from Backup. And here is my client that I had backed up, and I'll just choose Add and Next. Now I can choose to restore to that original virtual machine location, which is what I'm going to want to do, or choose that new location, or do a staged restore. And that would allow me to restore it to, say, a sandbox location where it's separate from everything else. Before I choose to restore to the original location, I've got to shut this down from the Hyper-V virtual machine. Otherwise, I'll have two virtual machines with the same name. So I'm going to switch over to my Hyper-V virtual machine to shut that down. And here is that client. I'll just choose the turn off option, and now I can go back to my Veeam server to run the restoration. I'm back in Veeam. I'll choose Next. And if I'm concerned about malware, I can go ahead and choose to scan the restored machine for malware prior to performing the recovery. I know I don't have any malware in this particular case, so I'm not going to scan the machine, but I do recommend that in most cases. And I'll click Next. And here you can see that it's going to delete my original virtual machine and replace it with the exact same name. However, you can't trust that that's always going to happen, which is why it's a good idea to shut down the original virtual machine before doing your restoration. I'll click Finish and it'll begin. The restore job has started and it's restoring from my storage. Now it's at the restoration point where some data is actually starting to move. And the restore completed successfully. I'll close that and I'll switch over to my Hyper-V host and make sure that the virtual machine has been restored and I can restart it. Here's my virtual machine. It did show up, and I'll go ahead and click Start. And the virtual machine has started. Restoring an image-based backup deletes the original virtual machine, so if you would like to have a copy of it, be sure to do that prior to the restoration.